So it's setting up the YouTube. Oh my gosh. Now I'm watching myself on YouTube right now. Hi, YouTube. All right, now how do I get out of that?
Oh, there she is. I see it.
You see me?
I see you on YouTube.
Oh my gosh. And I'm watching myself on YouTube right now. Hi, YouTube. All right, so can we turn the volume down on your end? Because I'm getting feedback.
There we go.
Awesome.
This is a great practice run.
It is a great practice one. Hi, YouTube. Welcome to the Blythe Starlight channel. Today, though, is a really fun and exciting collaboration between myself and Amber Romaniuk. Amber, say hi to everyone.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
We're going to be doing a little series called Shining the Light On podcast, and this is episode 1. It's meant to be on Amber's channel, but we're having trouble with YouTube right now, trying to get it to connect and stream live. So I'm going to hand this really quickly over to Amber so she can tell you about what we're doing here, and then we're going to go deeper in.
Yes. Thank you so much, Therese. I'm so excited that we're here today. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. One thing I'm curious about, Therese, before I talk about what we're doing, do you have it on speaker mode or do you have it on gallery mode? Because what I'm seeing on YouTube is it's either showing just you or just me versus like seeing both of us. I don't know.
I just switched over to gallery. Can you let me know if you can track that?
Yeah, there's about a 15 to 20 second delay, I think, from here to YouTube. So hopefully we'll see it right away. So while we're waiting for that to shift, I am really excited for this. So there we are. Yes. Now it's both of us. Okay. Yes. So now we know gallery view is the vibe. Yes. See, women figuring it out as we go, right? This is the beauty of it. So a couple weeks ago, Therese and I were chatting about just like fully stepping into ourselves. And part of that was just like being more bold with our shares, being more unapologetic and just sharing from our heart to help empower the women and the people of this world, right, with certain things that are going on. And so we decided and came to a choice point that we were no longer going to hold back certain parts of us in our businesses, our YouTubes, our expression, because it's actually suppressing us and what we have to offer the world. And so we decided no more, and we're just going to fully share from a space of love. And so, of course, Therese started with her world news videos and like sharing more openly in your karma cards, which I love. And I started sharing more as well. My YouTube, did a vulnerability podcast and dropped one on Rumble. And then the other day I was just like, hey, I think it would be so fun if we did a collaboration, because when you pull your cards, there's just magic in that. The guidance that comes from that, you're so tapped in, you're so intuitive. And then I'm like, what if we did something where you share your guidance and your gifts from that, and I can share my guidance from my knowledge and my expertise. And we decided to come up with this concept where we break down really valid, in the moment topics that women are dealing with, struggling with, right? Whether it's weight, body image, sugar, corruption in food, pharma, like whatever it's going to be, there's going to be all kinds of conversations had. And so we decided to give it a shot. And that's what this is going to be all about. So we called it Shining the Light On podcast.
Yes, so we're going to be shining the light on all sorts of topics. And today's topic is actually a pretty hot button one in the diet culture industry. And that's going to be about Ozempic.
Yeah, Ozempic.
It's a huge topic. And so if you haven't heard about it, we're going to break it down for you and get into that. But before we go, I just wanted to share with Amber, because we didn't get a chance to privately talk about it before going live because we were working with all these tech things. I had asked my team, I'm like, what should we be focusing on as the intention behind this particular episode, regarding Ozempic? And the message that came through was wild. So we've got the Four of Pentacles in reverse, and this represents a loss of power. So using Ozempic is linked to this giving away power. We're going to talk about why going deeper into it. I know Amber's like, she's like right on the nose. She knows what that means, but that's the intention behind this is helping to restore power to you on your journey. So let's get in. By the way, we should do introductions. I know people know you on your channel.
Excited.
People know me, but we're cross-moginating right now.
Yeah.
So really quickly, Amber, can you just introduce yourself to my audience in case they're not familiar with you?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Amber Romaniuk, and I focus on emotional eating, gut health, hormone health, the body image, weight. I essentially help women heal and take their power back from food in their bodies so that they can really step into their power, their intuition, and have freedom for life. And I healed my own food addiction, the weight body battle, the sugar addiction, the horrible hormone and gut issues, and I've helped women now for 10 years. So this is an area, what we're going to talk about today is just so near and dear to my heart, because it can be so easy to want to give your power away to a quick fix and see things change fast, especially when it comes to weight loss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then for those of you who are seeing me on Amber's channel and aren't familiar with me, my name is Therese Tucker. I am the creator of Blythe Starlight, which is a brand encompassing everything intuition. I am a psychic medium, an intuitive artist, a mindset coach, and the author of the book, Confidence is Magic. And I'm here to support Amber in sharing this information and tapping into my own gifts, which is connecting with my own team and spirit and bringing forth any messages that the spirit side would like to add to this conversation. And I have a feeling Dave got some good messages for us today.
Mm-hmm. Agreed, 100%. Yes. And we'll make sure that for my channel, Therese's details are in the show notes in the comments below. So you can totally click through to her YouTube and subscribe, her website, everything. And we'll talk more about that at the end.
Yes. And our intention is for this podcast to be featured on both YouTube channels. Mm-hmm. So if you're catching it live here, try also checking Amber's channel, which is Amber Romaniuk on YouTube. So we're probably going to be going live there a lot more, but you might see us in both places. So you'll never miss an episode. And if you want to be part of this and ask us questions live, we would really love that.
Yes.
And invite you to leave comments below about the topic and any other future topic you'd like to hear from us.
Yes, please leave your topic ideas in the comments because we're going to a lot of places. So I feel like that covers everything for starters.
Sure does. Okay. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Ozempic. I brought this to Amber because I do work with Amber. She's a fantastic health coach, and I've been working with her on my own journey around emotional eating and issues with the body and trying to really reconnect and have a harmonious, loving, and healthy relationship with my body. And so naturally, being someone who is working on that relationship, anything to do with diets and diet cultures can be triggering, to say the least, if not even tempting. Mm-hmm. I hate to admit that because it's like, I'd like to be in a place where I'd see that and be like, oh, please. Like, there's a part of me that knows like this drug, and we're going to get into what it is. Part of me knows this drug's very unhealthy and unnecessary, and it's not going to lead in the direction that I'd like it to go. But the part of me that's still attached, the part of my ego that wants that quick fix, this is a really tempting one because of the results it's getting people, but not without cost. There's always a cost. So should I break down what it is really quick and then? Okay, so Ozempic is actually a class, it's in the medicine class of a GLP-1. Now, I just learned that GLP-1 is a hormone that already exists in our body. So this type of drug is a hormone mimicker as well as a neurotransmitter. So it has that effect on the body. And it's actually derived from a diabetes medication called semaglutide. So Ozempic is actually a semaglutide type thing, and it's designed for people with type 2 diabetes. Amber, do you want to tell them how Ozempic's meant to work?
So it's really meant to shut off your appetite level and make it so that you're not hungry. And then of course, if you're not as hungry, you're eating less, and then you're losing weight really fast. That's the long and short of it.
But for the diabetic purposes,
it helps regulate blood sugar. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Right. So, but the side effect that they're finding from this, so it was created for blood sugar, maintenance and balance, and helping people have an easier time without having those hard crashes that I guess comes with being diabetic, right? Yeah. So it's a stabilizer in a way, and it's meant to mimic that hormone that we actually produce I think it's out of our own pancreas, produces a hormone that says, hey, you've got food in your stomach, you can stop eating now.
Yeah. Ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone is the hunger hormone that makes us hungry, and leptin is the hormone that makes us full. Gives us that signal.
So it sounds like it has that must be what the GL means, right? Gremlin, leptin, gremlins, or however you say that, and leptin must be part of that hormone combo that comes out naturally. So I just want to sidetrack for a second and say that definitely gave me pause for concern when I heard it was a hormone mimic replacement, because as I understand with something like, and maybe it's different for different hormones, I honestly don't know. I am not a medical professional, so this is just me commenting what I'm noticing. But something like progesterone, for example, if someone is weak or low in progesterone and you use something like a birth control to mimic it and replace it in the body, as I understand, the body then actually doesn't strengthen its production of progesterone, but it actually weakens its natural production of progesterone. Isn't that right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not actually addressing the roots of why the progesterone is low in the first place. And then you're bringing a synthetic, unnatural form of progesterone into the body, which the body can't recognize and stay in a harmony with that.
Right. So what I've understood about that is once you get off of something like progesterone, your body actually doesn't go back to the level it was producing at. It's actually, you've almost crippled it in a way, making it even less effective at producing its own progesterone.
Yeah. Again, because you haven't addressed the roots.
So again, I don't know if this is what happens within this drug, but I am suspicious, just knowing about one type of hormone interaction, if this drug wouldn't actually do that same thing, where it would actually weaken the body's own ability to create or produce this specific hormone combination.
It's very possible, because there's a lot of different drugs that when they're used, they do suppress the original production. And then, because just like with anything, it goes across the board. If the root causes of why there's a depletion or too much of something being produced in the body, whether it's a hormone or neurotransmitter, are not addressed, and then we do medication, we're not course correcting the original imbalance. And then, because a lot of medications are hard on the liver and so many other things, and there's all these side effects, we often end up with more imbalances than we started with when we come off of it. Now, of course, everyone has their choices for taking medications, and I'm not going to discount that. However, when we are choosing to use something to quick fix because we've been conditioned with trillions of magazine covers that say that weight loss will make you happy, right? And you are so deeply convinced that losing weight is the epitome of your happiness, it can make it so much easier and so much more tempting to go, oh my gosh, this is making people lose weight fast. Oh my gosh, this is the thing that's going to fix everything for me. And then I can finally be happy. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the Ozempic effect, because this, again, was a medication introduced for people with type 2 diabetes and managing that. One of the side effects from these hormones, these synthetic hormones being in your system, is that feeling of not being hungry anymore, and it's sustaining blood sugar levels. And one person I was watching who was taking it for something like 6 months said that even just having a few sips of water and 2 bites of food made her feel like, okay, I'm done, I have to stop.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really sounds like it's suppressing the ghrelin and the leptin. So the ghrelin is the hunger hormone that makes you hungry, and the leptin is the hunger hormone that makes you full. And what we need to understand with that is when we suppress those hormones, we're throwing our body out of sync, right? Because now we completely just assume I'm not hungry. A lot of people don't know about the hunger hormones, don't know that we produce these two hormones to give us a hunger signal and then communicate that we're full. And so people would just assume, oh, I'm not hungry, so I'm just not going to eat. And that's great. But that can snowball into a whole other array of issues with metabolism, the thyroid, the body being really stressed out because now you're not getting barely any nourishment. And that's really stressful on your cortisol, your stress hormone, your energy levels. Now you're depleting vital vitamin B12, which is your energy vitamin, your iron, which is vital for energy levels, magnesium, which helps with sleep, right? So many things, all of a sudden, this cascade of imbalances could potentially come forth. But because we get so asphyxiated and obsessed with the desire for weight loss, it's shocking to me how willing we are to throw our entire body under the bus for this one thing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the side effects for this, I mean, this is where it gets crazy, and the ego is getting triggered, because when you hear the side effects, and you're still willing to kind of gamble with that, that's like, you really start to wake up to like, geez Louise, like I'm really playing a game of risk here.
Yeah.
Because this is, again, the Ozempic itself is not FDA approved for weight loss, although it's used off label as a weight loss drug. There is, however, a cousin to Ozempic called Wegovy, which is actually a higher dose than Ozempic. And it has been FDA approved specifically for weight loss. So they're already allowing this to happen, but the side effects include, and these are the ones most commonly experienced, are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation that people see. And it's one of those medications, like, which I think most medications are, but you ramp up to it, right? So you're taking a little at a time till you get to the dose that you're going to be at. And it's in that ramping period that people really see those side effects. But there's a black box, and I've never heard this term before. There's a black box side effect on Ozempic and Wegovy, and it is a rare form of thyroid cancer. That's what people are trading for. They're playing the risk of, and with Ozempic, by the way, we should mention, it is a drug that as soon as you are off of it, you ricochet right back. Any weight lost, you literally will gain back, and possibly and probably more. Why does that happen, Amber?
Yeah. So a big part of this, and not just with this drug, but with a lot of women that do really restrictive diets or take other medications to suppress appetite, is because once you take the lid off, right? You take the Band-Aid off, the metabolism in the body goes, oh my gosh, I've been restricted. I've been starved. I haven't been nourished. Like, we are so depleted. And then the pendulum just swings the other way. Now all of a sudden your body is flooding and producing all these hunger hormones to give you a hunger signal. And right. And then we're like, holy moly, I'm so hungry, I need to eat. And then that can trigger overeating, binge eating, loss of control with food. The metabolism standpoint. So like I was saying, when we're suppressing our appetite and we're barely eating, the thyroid is the metabolism. It's our energy burner, creator. It's a big part of what helps us to lose weight as well. And when we are suppressing our appetite and we're not eating enough, we are heavily suppressing the thyroid, because we do need to eat enough regularly through the day to help support good thyroid function, to help support metabolism. And so when you negatively inhibit your thyroid with these kinds of medications, you're not eating enough, it causes a lot of stress in the body, a lot of inflammation. It can throw other hormones off. And then this can cause the thyroid to go sluggish and go hypothyroid. And the more hypothyroid the body, the easier it is to gain weight really easily. So I feel like there's this combination of hypothyroid where the body can gain weight really easily because the metabolism is slowed down so much. I would be curious to see people getting their cortisol levels tested, coming off of this too, because I'm sure it's through the roof because of the suppression of the appetite and the not eating enough. Most women have hormone imbalances anyway. Put this on top of that, and I'm sure that it would, make them a lot bigger than they already are. So this is one of the reasons why we see the body, just the pendulum swing, is because the metabolism gets suppressed so much. And then we come off of it, your appetite levels regulate. Now your body's going from you barely eating anything to now eating regularly or overeating. And it's confused and going, okay, I've got to just store this. I don't even know what to do with this. I've kind of forgotten how to break it down properly and metabolize it and use it. So there's a whole process.
Yeah. And not only that, but like apparently on the medication, because it is, again, such an appetite suppressant, it people are experiencing like weight falling off the body. And like, I think an average is like 1 to 2 pounds a week. And this is a weekly injection. So you are injecting it once a week and then having this weight just kind of come off. But some of the things they're saying, there's something called Ozempic face. I don't know if you've heard about that, Ozempic face, but the subcutaneous fat, like that's in the cheeks, basically hollows out, and people end up looking a lot older than they actually are because they're losing like all this subcutaneous fat really quickly. And I've even heard conversations that it can even sort of the weight reduction can even come from muscle mass, it's depriving muscle mass. Does that sound like something that would actually happen?
For sure, because if you're under eating, what does the body do? It goes to the muscles, starts breaking the muscles down. And another reason that your body would probably, gain weight more easily is because if you force the body to lose weight really fast, you have to realize there's a lot of toxicity in your fat cells, and now those are all breaking down. That all has to filter through the liver. And now your liver is all of a sudden very overwhelmed, and your liver plays a massive role in many functions in the body, including hormone production. And if your liver is overwhelmed, that's going to really impact your hormone function, your blood sugar, and other things. So a lot of people don't realize fast weight loss in the long run snowballs and sets us up for easy weight gain, because now the liver's overburdened, the cortisol, the stress hormone, the thyroid are being impacted. Like it's just this vicious cycle that we innocently create for things to go in the opposite direction once we take the Band-Aid off.
Well, and here's what I've heard. It's basically a drug you have to take for life, because the minute you stop, and there are people who have documented stopping, everything reverses, like Amber just spoke about. So this means you're on it for life, once a week injections, and they're about $900 a shot.
Wow. Yeah.
So who's
not surprised?
Right. So then it makes you go, is this about what's good for people, or is it about what's good for a company or companies that create this? Because that just made you you just gave your power away to a medication, which the minute you get off of it, everything that you've created for yourself goes away. Yeah.
And you've spent a lot of money, right, that you could have invested in real support or real testing or guidance to help you really deal with, what's at the roots of your weight loss blocks? Why is your body hanging on to protection? Are you binge eating? Are you emotionally eating? Do you have inflammation? Do you have hormone issues that are inhibiting and blocking your body from releasing weight? Like, is there body image issues, inner child wounding? Like, these are all the things we miss looking at when we keep band-aiding with these quick fixes. And then the issues pile up tenfold, like we've been talking about, when you come off of this, because we've just pushed the body into a higher level of stress, a higher level of overwhelm, a higher level of imbalance. And then think of the emotional impact when you've lost weight really fast, you come off of this and then you gain weight really quickly, or you lose control with food and gain weight really quickly. It is really, really hard on you emotionally when this happens. And I went through that when I lost weight really fast through restriction and exercise, which I don't suggest, and then gained it because I started binge eating. You're embarrassed. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of guilt, right? There's a lot of negative self-talk. It's very heavy and it's very icky to feel that. So I feel for those of you who are going through this experience where you experience the big dopamine high of the weight loss, but then, right, you go back and it comes back on. And then we start to see, okay, here's yet another quick fix that didn't resolve anything. And now I have to deal with this shame, this guilt, this disappointment in myself, plus the impacts on my body physically, emotionally, energetically, etc.
Right. And it's being like touted as a miracle drug because it's like, hey, you can live your lifestyle any way you want and still lose weight. So the irony is, I mean, you've talked about this to me privately. Maybe we've talked about it publicly too, but it's, hidden hunger, right, is from nutrient depletion in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're eating crap all the time, like let's say you're really into fast food or convenience food and you're eating a lot of prepackaged or pre-made stuff, and taking something like Ozempic to lose weight so that you don't have to stop doing that. Now you're not only suppressing the amount of food that you get, but you're still in that nutrient deficiency. I mean, what does the nutrient deficiency do to the body, Amber? Like why would we still feel hungry if we're nutrient deficient?
Yeah. So when we are eating very nutrient empty, calorie empty foods, number one, we're not getting the protein, the fat, the carbohydrates that regulate your blood sugar, that help you feel satiated and satisfied, that support your energy, good digestion, good hormone health, etc. You are easily depleting very vital vitamins and minerals. I talked about the B12, it's an energy vitamin. Amongst other B vitamins, you're depleting your iron levels, which are important for energy levels. You're depleting your vitamin D, which is mimics a hormone like fatty, like it's a fatty vitamin that mimics hormones. So if that's really depleted, that can impact your hormones. So talk about it having a significant impact on your mood. You're probably feeling more irritable, angry, frustrated, right? Maybe anxiety, depression. Your energy levels are extremely low, right? Now, off of this, you probably have really heightened cravings. I don't know if people have cravings while they're on this because their appetite's suppressed, but to me, like your cravings shoot through the roof because you're always hungry. And then you're eating a lot of processed foods that may have like the MSG, the aspartame, the refined sugars, very addictive ingredients that give us these dopamine highs and make us want to have more. So it has such an impact on everything. We deplete our bodies so much in so many ways, right? And then it fuels the inflammation. It fuels the potential autoimmune picture. It suppresses your immunity. Like the domino effect just continues.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so it's being sold as like this miracle drug to people. And that's triggering. It's triggering. It triggers the ego, right? Because you're like, holy crap, there's a way out. Right. And I have to admit, like, even as a person who knows better, I know better. There's something like that is, I mean, I was thinking, I had asked myself the question, a tough question, like, imagine you have a friend who's a doctor who could give you a script for this right now. Would you try to get that? Would you try to get that script? And I'm like, the bigger part of me is like, absolutely not. That's basically poison. And you're making yourself kind of a lifelong slave to something that could also have deadly effects in the end, especially the longer you're on it, the higher the risk goes up that you're going to get these side effects, right? There's the part of me, and that's what I wanted to address with you. I was like, let me be the guinea pig here and just talk about the ego going, oh my God, it would be so easy. And then you see celebrities taking it. That's another part I wanted to mention is part of who's pushing it, and maybe not in a direct way, but in a demonstrative way, right? Are celebrities. Like, for example, I don't know if you've seen Mindy Kaling, but she's like a twig right now. And, watching her on a show like The Office, you saw her body go up and down. Like you could tell that she's a yo-yo dieter or that she has, body, issues, whatever that is. You could tell just because her body would do the fluctuation that you normally see with someone who has those issues. And now she looks willowy. I don't know how else to say it. It just looks like someone's like cut her in half. And there's now Mindy Kaling. So I want to talk about why do you think they pair celebrity with the medical industry? I don't know if that's a pretty deep one. I'm going conspiratorial here, but let's go there.
Oh, goodness.
What benefit? Right? What benefit does that have? What do you feel like the agenda is there?
So let's break this down. And agendas across the board. It doesn't matter if it's for things like this It's for Weight Watchers. It's for Jenny Craig. It's promoting certain foods, promoting other certain agendas we've seen in the last 3 years. Like, you start to notice this pattern where celebrities promote all the same things, right? So, and it's usually not things that are in support of the greatest good of humanity as we gather more information and awareness, right? That's the truth.
Right.
So this is what happens. You grow up, you are not taught how to love yourself. You're not taught confidence. You're not taught how to appreciate your body. Okay. From a very young age, many of us are programmed and conditioned, even brainwashed, that you respect and love and admire and worship people on the TV because they're famous, they have money, they look perfect, they must have used their bodies to get where they are. Oh, lucky for them. They seem like they can eat whatever they want and like lose weight or attain a certain weight, right?
They're supposed to be the ideal.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this pattern of like the perfect looking body in Hollywood, but we're not told it's edited and photoshopped and fake. Not just photo, they CGI and edit all the video too. It's very easy for them to do so. So what this does is this celebrity worship completely disconnects us from our intuition, from having awareness and being in tune with our bodies, from owning our self-worth, our confidence, our self-love. Okay. And we become obsessed with, idolize, attached to these people we've never met before. They have clout, they have numbers, they're multimillionaires, they have status, and we are taught to worship that. When, in my opinion, the only person we should be worshiping is ourselves. Anyways, because we feel insecure, we attach to another person's identity that we've never met. And they essentially, we know, like, and trust them. We think, I know this person, I can read their bio, I can watch their movies, I can watch the documentary about them. I like this person, I like their personality, they seem like a great person. And so then we go, well, whatever, because I trust this person, because I idolize them, I'm asphyxiated with them, I can relate to them, like this specific Mindy K, whatever her name is, from The Office, right? So it's like, oh, I can relate to her. Like, I love her. She was in this show. Oh, wow. She used that. She's struggling with weight loss. And look at how well it worked for her. Well, maybe I should try that, because if it worked for her, it's going to work for me. I'm desperate to lose weight. She looks so good. Like, we're so judgmental with the external image. And so we would rather follow an instruction, an endorsement, a recommendation from a celebrity who we don't know. We don't know anything about. We don't know them in their private life. We don't know how much money they're getting paid. We don't even know if they're doing this or if they did a bunch of other stuff and, are saying this is what they did. And we do the thing because they're telling us that it's the thing to do.
Right. And it's meant to be sort of like, we're meant to follow along. We're meant to follow. We're not meant to think for ourselves. We're not meant to be questioning. We're only meant to want what they tell us to want. That's kind of like the name of the game. And if we're looking at it from a spiritual level, what we're talking about is kind of the matrix, right? The lower energy system that keeps you trapped in sort of this very low vibrational system, keeps you very connected to your ego, which is what it all appeals to. Yeah. Right. This is what it's all appealing to. And we haven't even touched, you said it briefly in the beginning, but one of the negative side effects of many of this drug is that this drug is designed for people who actually need it for health concerns, which is type 2 diabetes and stabilizing their blood sugar. And one of the negative side effects of this getting so much attention for weight loss is it's literally caused shortages for people who actually need it, because all of these people are taking it almost, they say off label, which another way to say sort of recreationally. You don't need it. Yeah. Right.
But that's the thing. So essentially what ends up happening is when you feel insecure in your body and you feel like you've tried everything to lose weight, you do get into the state of desperation. You're like, I will try anything. I'm so desperate. I just want to lose weight. I feel like that's going to fix everything. It's going to make me happy. Once I lose the weight, then I'll finally fully live my life. Then I'll finally go here and go there. I'll date again. I'll be more intimate with my partner. Maybe then I'll start the business or grow my business or right? I'll be a better influence on my kids, or like whatever the things are that you're holding back on now. I can wear certain clothes, right? I'll feel more confident. Once I lose weight, then I won't overeat anymore. Like the ego convinces us of all of these reasons why the weight loss is the key. And we've been conditioned by all the magazines, like how many magazine covers, weight loss is what makes you happy. So we get all these millions of images programmed into our subconscious mind, and we start to believe it. We start to believe things that aren't even true if the repetition comes into the mind enough. And so when you are insecure in your body, I've been there, like you've been there, we've all been there as women, I feel like, if we've had access to media in the Hollywood, the desperation and the deep desire to lose weight overtakes everything else, the side effects, the cost, the negative impacts it could have if I take this route. Because the ego's in full blown control and was like, this could be the thing that could fix everything. You'd be stupid not to do it, right? This is the key. This is it, right? Yeah. And so we let the ego make the decision, and we make it out of desperation, fear, insecurity, shame, guilt. I feel embarrassed living in my body. We let that make the decision, and we should never make decisions from those places because we usually regret it later because it's out of our ego. But all the hype from celebrities promoting it, right? And like, all these false quick fix results and promises, they give us a dopamine high. And when we're in that state, we don't make the right decisions. And then we do whatever the thing is, in this case, taking this, maybe you get a fast quick fix result, but then you're like, holy crap, I can't afford to keep taking this, or why I'm having these horrible side effects. Oh, I've lost weight, so now I don't need it anymore. And then when things snowball and backtrack and essentially explode in your face, right, then you have to deal with that.
And I think what's even kind of a little scarier about this is not only do we have like the celebrity promoting it, which, there is something about the celebrity sphere promoting something that keeps it kind of feeling separated. Like you can tell, my ego can talk myself out of that and be like, well, that they don't just take that. They've got the private chef and they got the personal trainer. And so I can be like, I know it doesn't work, but here's where it's scary with Ozempic is that you see it's taken off on TikTok. Yeah. Okay. So that's where it really started to catch fire. And you would have these regular everyday people that your brain goes, they're just like me. And some of us don't have that association to celebrity. Like we're really clear that they're not like me. Like they don't live my life. But when you see someone who's maybe a middle-aged mom, or you see someone who is a girl in college and they're taking this and they're like, you can physically see that they are drastically changing. And because it's TikTok, you can share every week your progress. And so you can watch this person lose, some significant weight in some cases where you really can see it. And like I said, especially in the face, they start going really gaunt, being really gaunt in the face. And so you're looking at them, you're like, holy crap, okay, they did lose weight. I think that's even scarier because what we've seen with TikTok, for example, is that it is quite persuasive. Yeah. Forget all the stuff going on where they're trying to like, talk about it in terms of Congress and stuff, all the bills they're trying to pass. I'm just talking about the impact that particular app, more than YouTube, more than Facebook, more than Instagram, Instagram was probably the one that would do it before TikTok, but something about how TikTok came along. And especially I think the generation it's really targeted at being younger kids, right? Like younger people. Yeah. And you're watching this transformation. You're like, oh my God, that's going to solve my biggest problem. My biggest problem is the weight. And you're right. I do think, at least in my own experience and based on kind of what you're telling me, like, women who are holding weight issues or have, ego related issues with their body and their weight, they often do believe like if I could just solve this weight problem, all my other problems would be fixed. Yeah.
100%. We get into a tunnel vision because we live in a world where weight and the superficiality of weight has become such a massive focus subject topic because of the media in Hollywood. And then our moms got conditioned and our grandmothers got conditioned, and it's been passed down the lineage, right? Well,
and the body is still socially used as female currency.
Yeah, sadly.
It's female currency for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so then we, instead of learning our worth and our value and learning how to like understand that weight is a protective mechanism, your body's going to hang on to weight if she doesn't feel safe, and shifting, going, okay, let's get curious. Why is my body hanging on? Why does she not feel safe? Why does she need to hang on to this? And we don't get taught to explore that path. We get taught diet, exercise, take these medications, suppress your appetite, have willpower, try harder, do better. Right. And that's what we're taught. And that's very much so against, and it just really amplifies more stress in the body and makes us hang on to more weight, right? So to me, what's so important about all of this is that we start to understand our insecurities, this desperation, this need to fix it, right? Like, deep down, if you tap in, that the quick fix isn't going to change anything, right? So are you willing to start to be honest with yourself about that, and actually like really take the steps to go on a journey that's going to actually get you where you want to go and help you learn to understand your body, right? Really focus on, okay, what are the roots?
Absolutely. And I would say that definitely with years of working on the relationship with myself and my body, this isn't something that I would quickly jump on at all. And actually, just over the last few years and the things that we're discovering about medication and how it can get used and its other purposes, I'm super skeptical. So anytime someone tries to present pharmaceuticals as an answer, I'm always like, well, what else is this about? What else is connected to this?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's always money. Someone's always making money off of this, and it's not you. It's not, you're not going to be making money. You're going to be losing a lot of money and potentially more, right? You're going to end up suffering more than not. So the question that I have for you next, and I also wanted to do some cards with you, just if you have questions, we can ask the team. But I think my last question around this is, okay, so weight is about protection for holding weight, and it's about the body saying, I feel unsafe in some way. And, the work I've done with you, I've learned that we need to investigate why do I feel unsafe? But now let's imagine that instead of me addressing that, my body feels unsafe. I hold extra weight. Instead of addressing that core issue, I go on to Ozempic and I take it and I lose all this weight. My body still feels unsafe, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you haven't actually dealt with your insecurities, right? And a big fear I see with a lot of women who lose weight via quick fixes is then you fear and you're terrified for the day you start to gain it back. You fear losing control and gaining the weight back. So then you start focusing on that it's too good to be true. I'm not worthy to actually keep the weight off. So there's an unworthiness piece. There's a fear and you focusing on what you don't want to come back because you don't actually know how to manage it properly. There's a whole component of, well, if there's self-sabotage with food that's now being suppressed, emotional eating, binge eating, food addiction, that's just going to come right back once you stop taking this medication. And then we have the physical elements, things like hormone imbalances, which every single woman I've ever worked with has had, inflammation, gut issues, poor detoxification system, nutrient deficiencies, thyroid issues, right? Like sluggish metabolisms. And then we have like the years of potential hurt and traumas that you've been through. You're wounded inner child. If you've been bullied, if you got called names, if you were put on a diet as a child, if your mom was always weighing in and making comments about weight, like all of these circumstances contribute to the body hanging on and many more. And so if we don't address that, we're going to continue to come back to the same result, gaining the weight back and losing a little more hope and faith in ourselves and getting even harder on our bodies. So this is where I think the body's just such a wise guide and soul, because what she's trying to do is get your attention, go, hey, like, I'm not putting the weight on because I hate you and I want to punish you. Your body unconditionally loves you. She's putting the weight on because it's the only way she can get your attention to go, are you willing to look at this differently this time and really look at why I don't feel safe and go on that journey, the more holistic journey where we address the roots. Yes, it doesn't happen as fast. Yes, it takes more time, but then you have the shift for life, you lose the weight and for the most part, keep it off for life. And then you have the tools to manage your hormones, overcome emotional eating, all the other things, right? So it's a long-winded answer, but it's, yeah.
Well, I think my thinking around it is, so as a QHHT practitioner, and that's quantum healing hypnosis, one of the things that I know is that when the body has a message, it does not go away until that message is heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you don't necessarily know. I mean, first of all, the trials on this thing have only been like 1 to 3 years. I don't even know if it's been a full 3 years. It was released in 2020 and it's had like maybe a year and a half in trial. So they don't know the long-term consequences of this medication. But going back to my question for you is, if I have a message from my body that my body doesn't feel safe, and I'm ignoring that and I'm going for a quick fix, I know from the hypnosis point of view, that message doesn't just disappear. It usually intensifies and it will manifest as something else in the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I just wanted to touch base with you on that. Like, do you think, and this is hypothesis, we don't know, we're just kind of working it out. I feel like if I had that thing going on and I'm not addressing it, I'm almost asking to manifest extreme side effects from this thing. That's just my intuitive hit on it.
Yeah, totally. The body will yell at you louder, 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 louder until you ideally choose to listen and do something about it.
And what do you mean, just to clarify for the audience, what do you mean the body will yell at you louder?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So your symptoms get worse, right? So for me, when I was really struggling, my bloating got worse. I gained more weight.
Mm-hmm.
My energy levels dropped more, right? My mood got lower. My cravings got bigger. The binges got worse. Everything is amplified in a direction you don't want it to go until you finally choose to start listening or addressing it and taking a different path.
Right. So that's the sad thing here is, like, you think you're kind of getting away from something, but you're not. You're actually basically asking, because it's a spiritual matter that we're talking about, and the body is communicating to you. It's communicating on behalf of the soul. It's trying to get your attention because the soul speaks very quietly. It's usually that little voice in the back of your head that's like, that's not a good choice. Like, don't do that, or or do this, and we're ignoring it. And so the body agrees to get the attention of the person by then taking in this message and helping to get. So if your body is speaking to you through pain or weight gain or bloating or something like that, it's already an intensified message if the body is responding to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's just us taking something that's already like, hey, pay attention, I am in pain, and we're ignoring that even more. And it's like, I just keep thinking, oh my God, on a spiritual level, the catalyst you're actually inviting into your life of possibly more pain or a more severe situation because you're ignoring something key. And by the way, I don't think that happens to the people who take this medication that actually need it, who are trying to regulate their blood sugar, because it's a completely different intention.
Yes.
Completely different intention. One is an intention of actually caring for the body. So this isn't to say that all medication is bad and evil and, mind control, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's very much to do with where is your body at? What is it asking for from you? And what's your intention in engaging with this, outside chemical that is going to alter your physical composition in some way?
Yeah, exactly. And your mood and everything.
Right. Yeah. And things we don't even know yet, because again, it hasn't been out that long.
Exactly.
So, wow. So now what I wanted to do with you, and this was your idea, by the way, and I love it, was if you have questions you want to ask the team, you want to ask Spirit around this, let's do that. And I can pull some cards.
Okay. Yeah. You. So the first question is, what is this going to teach, like, the humanity, women of this planet? What is the lesson here for this? Because it's happening and there must be a lesson.
Okay. So let me just check in real quick here. All right. What is the lesson around Ozempic for humanity. I think that's a good way to phrase it.
Mhm.
And you can feel into this too. If you get a feeling, but oh, geez Louise, whole bunch of stuff. Holy go. Okay. Wow. They got a big one. I got 5 cards coming out at once here. Okay. So the first card that comes up is, I don't know if you can see that. That's the Knight of Swords, right? And so knights usually represent like a type of event that's coming through. So this is an event meant to create a sudden shift, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's meant to actually take something apart. So this, when the Knight of Swords in reverse comes up, this is a shift of like something coming apart. So it's going to break something open, reveal something here. And then right behind it, it's really interesting. We've got the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords represents women. And I think what is actually going to break open here is women's natural critical thinking, because she actually in the upright position represents clear thought. I'm thinking clearly and I'm judging things clearly. So this, I think it's meant to actually break this illusion that's happening with maybe medications or extreme dieting and the body, and it's going to break through to the critical thinker. In females specifically, that's what's coming through. But right behind that, what we're dealing with is the Empress in the reverse position. So like, again, breaking through, but also this is where the heart of it is. And the heart of it right here is a lack of love for self. So she actually is the Queen of Love. She represents love and creating through love. And when she shows up in this position, it is something that's being created without love or consideration. She's not in a nurturing position. So this shows a lack of nurturing. So again, this event, these things coming forward, break through the critical thinking, and then the finally seeing that at the core of this is that the female archetype, right? And I'm talking about the spiritual archetypes here. So really the Empress is a major female archetype, and it represents divine feminine energy standing fully in your divine feminine power. And she is reversed. She's been upside down for a while. And I don't think it's just a woman here, a woman there. I think it's like what's happened to women, because there is an attack. There's an attack on women in that lower matrix, right? The whole idea is, notice how even in 2023, we're dealing with attacks on women. And it's not the attacks that they're training us to look for, right? Like the patriarchy suppressing us. It's deeper than that. It's something much more. It's attacking the very archetypal energy or the nature of womanhood. It's trying to turn it upside down. And I think that really does get revealed here. And the next card we've got is another knight is coming forward. So it's and it's the Knight of Discs coming forward. So again, this is talking about how behind all that is money. Like this has all been about attaining money. It was never about people. It wasn't even about health. It was about how to attain more money, because there's better ways. Not something that I can necessarily see myself, but there are ways to heal, even for people who are dealing with the actual diabetes and things like that. There are ways for them to heal that are more long-term and more sustainable for them, that are being suppressed because of money. Money is the great suppressor behind that. And again, and we've got the 7 of Cups here, which is debauch. And the reason why is this was all about the test that all of us are going through. It's a testing period. It's meant to see, will you choose wisely or poorly? And I can't help it. Like, I don't know if you ever watched the Indiana Jones movies, but the one that's coming to mind is the one with Sean Connery, and they're going after the Holy Grail, and they're in this room full of grails. And the whole idea is, if you choose the right one, you will survive. If you don't, you will not. And that's exactly kind of what this card represents, is you're being tested in this period. Some tests represent the ego, and only some represent virtue. And so it's about choosing wisely. Are you going to choose from your ego, or are you going to choose from virtue? So, choosing from virtue would be obviously touching base with yourself and asking from the truest place. Am I tempted? Yes, I am tempted. Do I need it? No, I don't. Is this going to solve the relationship between me and my ego, or me and my inner child, or whatever else? No, it's not. And it's a hard one to pass up, because looks good on the surface. It looks really tempting. It's like, wow, in 2 months you could be a different dress size easily. But you're choosing your ego when you do it.
Yeah. Very resonant with the cards.
Yeah. So we're going to see a collective. This is the most important point right here. The Empress being reversed. She needs to be restored to her upright position. And that's a restoration that has to happen in each woman individually. Right. And again, it's kind of like we're not screwed if not every woman gets there. It's more of a percentage. It's more of a percentages thing, but it starts within each one of our own hearts. And why am I not enough? Why have I failed as a woman? Just by being me and in my body. These are the questions we have to ask ourselves, because they're the question that was, or rather the story that was presented to us. Until you attain this, you have failed. Until you attain this relationship, or this career, or this status, or this beauty, and then of course with women too, it all gets sucked away, right? Because there's a peak, there's a woman, we're told women peak. And then on the other side of that, you've lost importance, you've lost power, you've lost beauty, you've lost whatever, because the currency is youth, beauty, and the body, or that's what we're told. And that thinking keeps us disempowered and out of love.
Yeah. Very powerful cards.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to hit me with like a 5-card punch, but it was loaded and ready to go.
I feel like that really that just to me is the epitome of those 5 cards.
Well, and it's interesting that it's layered, because I think the part that's most interesting is that behind all of it is a choice that we make. Even behind the money, that's interesting, isn't it? And that makes sense when you actually stop and think about it. Even the money has no power if you don't choose to support it. If you don't give it the energy it needs, it can't produce. So it really does come down to a personal choice. And then it's the choice between virtue and ego. So interesting.
Yeah. And what would happen if you decided to invest the money in something that could actually really change your life for the better and get you where you really wanted to go? Not saying you have to do that, but sometimes investing in like the right support is exactly what we need, because there's just information overload on the internet, right? So
absolutely.
What if you put that money into something really, really, really in alignment for your healing instead?
Right. And it's interesting, because I can see how in some cases, yes, maybe people have the money for it and they spend it, but I can see in other cases some people being so desperate to have it that they've suddenly manifest that money, because when you want something, you create that. And I think that what that should show some people is that you have the power. You have the power to live the life you want to live. It's just, are you motivated by what it's going to take to do it,
Exactly.
So I think that's.
Well, I feel like that was a great conversation, a great reading.
Yeah. And there's a lot of information about Ozempic out there. So this is, just one of many videos that you can find on the topic. It's a pretty hot topic issue. There's a lot of doctors chiming in about it. And, a lot of them, I would say, are actually providing warnings, which I think is really good.
Yes.
So if you're interested in the topic, or you want to hear more, or from medical perspectives, you could just simply look it up, and there's so much more to learn as well.
Yes, exactly. And always, always look into things before you just impulsively jump into them, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. And I can't tout Amber's skills enough, because I know that if I didn't have Amber's support on my side, which I've had for years and I'm so grateful for, if I didn't have that, this would be a very tempting situation for where my ego was at. And so, Amber, I just wanted to invite you to share with how people could work with you if they're also feeling, if this is a triggering topic for you and you're watching it, and you're like, man, I really want the help. Consider working with someone like Amber. And Amber, what ways can they work with you now if they're interested?
Yeah, thank you. And it's just such a pleasure to support you. And you've helped me so much too with your guidance. So it's feeling is mutual. So as far as going on the journey, if you want to learn more about me, you can come to my website, amberapproved.ca. There I have a free emotional eating quiz you can take. I share more about my journey to food and body freedom from healing it myself. And then I also talk about different services that I offer and what body freedom is. If you're wanting to have a conversation with me, you can click the link to book a 30-minute body freedom call, and we can connect and have that chat and talk about the support available. And we can talk more about you and what you're struggling with, hormone issues, gut issues, the weight struggle, the body image, emotional eating, et cetera, et cetera. It's really whatever's going on for you. And then you can come and watch YouTube. It's just my name, Amber Romaniuk, or listen to the No Sugarcoating podcast. And it's interesting because we had a comment from, I think, Carolyn in the chat. I needed thyroid hormone and it went bad for me when I stopped. And part of the reason for that is sometimes these medications for thyroid, et cetera, they just make the numbers look good, but they don't actually fully regulate the thyroid. And then when we stop them, the liver is overwhelmed, the thyroid just gets even worse, and then we feel even worse. And so again, with any medication, if it's not addressing the roots, when we come off of it, it can give us a lot of negative experiences and symptoms. So this is where I really encourage you that if you're struggling with your hormones, you're struggling with the weight, the body image issues, be willing to get second, third, fourth opinions and really work with someone or people who are going to help you address the roots and help you support these things properly, just to bring things into balance, and that is possible. So that's me and where people can find me.
Awesome. And thank you for the comment. Yeah, that's a really good point. Thyroid is really tricky. Amber has helped me a lot with my own. I wanted to bring this up earlier, but back in the day, way before I met you, I was living in New York, and I think I went to an endocrinologist. I remember it was referred to by another doctor for the thyroid, because I just knew, I was like, something's up. I feel like something's up, but nothing shows up on numbers for me when it comes to thyroid. And they even had me do the like blow in the tube and like test my metabolism and stuff. And you know what they ended up doing? They put me on Adderall. I was put on Adderall to adjust my thyroid. Had no idea at the time that Adderall was like going to be a ADHD medication or something like that. So I was using it like they were putting me on it for appetite suppressant, because that's what he's like, oh, you just need to suppress your appetite. And I remember it did suppress your appetite, but I just remember being like shaky all the time, like sitting there shaking. So it's real. Like, I fully agree with you. You need to get multiple opinions on that kind of thing, because something like your thyroid can be really subtle. Yeah. Really subtle to read for sure.
And the normal range is too big. Maybe we should do a whole chat on the thyroid. And
we totally should.
Pull cards on like why they keep making the ranges bigger.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's do that, because you've really helped me with my own thyroid. Like I feel so much more stable right now. Before I met Amber, it was actually in pain, which was weird. I was getting like sharp little pains. Yeah. So there is a way to help yourself with that without having to go through crazy medication. If your numbers are wherever. Yeah. So that's a good one. We'll definitely talk about it.
We'll put it on the list.
It's on the list. And of course, if you want to work with me or learn more about what I do, you can always go to blythestarlight.com. If you're watching it here, you're already on my YouTube channel. So thanks for being here. And you can always see my weekly karma cards. And of course, I've just started my world event readings. So I've got one out right now, and a new one will be coming out very shortly. I'm happy to be doing with you, Amber. I think it's really interesting, and it's I love pulling it apart one topic at a time, because whenever you try to deep dive into what's going on and how is it all connected, it's overwhelming. It's a lot to look at. So I think that by looking at one piece at a time, I think what we're going to be able to show you is the pattern that's kind of behind everything. You're going to start to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So yay, like, share, subscribe, let people know it's happening. If you have ideas or things you want to hear about on our podcast, put it in the comments below. We will check that out. And of course, we are going to be going live on either Amber's channel or my channel. So look out for us. We're going to be up there Wednesdays, and we'll be sharing it to the other channel. So you can catch the replay if you don't catch it live.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Amber, for being on here. It's been fun to do this live with you. And thank you to those of you who watched live with us. And we will see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Now I got to figure out how to stop.